pmoore and welcome. But this is a Schmeisser SP9. Schmeisser, German company. They appeared 5-7 years ago out the blue and started producing sort of what I would call high-end AR-15s for the sporting and I'm assuming military and police market as well. In 223. I quite like the rifles. I've tested a few, but my one caveat was that back then they just had T-handle operation, which from my personal experience of shooting AR-15s in competition for many years is not the best way to go, because first of all you can't get the speed up on a T-handle, and secondly if you have primary extraction, which is an issue with 223 AR-15s and heavier calibers, then you just might as well not bother, because the case gets stuck in the chamber because it's hot. By the time it's contracted, you've got it out, everybody else has finished the course of fire. So the obvious option and answer for British use is a side cocking handle. I remember speaking to Schmeisser at Iowa some years ago at the behest of Ruag, who were at that time bringing the rifles in. And I asked an engineer why they didn't do a side cock, and he said they don't need one. And I said, well, I beg to differ, but for the UK market, if you're up against side cocking AR-15s, good example, Bob Clark Speedmaster, you are really going to be behind, because you just can't keep up on speed and the ability to sort of clear most stoppages if you get them. Anyway, they obviously relented, because I remember testing one about a year later and it had side cocker on it. So this is more interesting because A, it's a beautiful example of an AR-15 that somebody's thought about. All the accessories and features and go faster bits you could possibly want. Okay, they cost 2k and it's not cheap, but if you'd buy or order something from a UK custom house, you'd probably be paying about that sort of money before we even start thinking about putting in big head safety buttons, ambidextrous controls, you name it. So that way you're buying this rifle out of the box and really there's nothing else needs doing to it. As for the caliber 9mm, because there was no guns to really shoot it, a couple of people came forward, like Pete Cerrone's Armalon. They made a pistol caliber carbine based on number 4 using like Glock mags or whatever in various calibers. Bob Clark came with a lever action 9mm gun. But apart from that, most people who wanted to carry on shooting action, practical type events went back in history to a lever action rifle, you know, like sort of Winchester 94, Marlin 94, that sort of thing, in either 38, 357 or 44 Magnum. So the 9mm was virtually forgotten, but now you've got this new breed of guns, probably now spearheaded by this because this is the latest one out there. It now gives you the ability to choose 9mm, and by doing so choose a quick loading box magazine system, which does certainly in terms of shooting fast and shooting multiple targets, it pees all over a lever action. Pretty much standard is a telescopic 6-position stock. This is a Magpul. This is the basic butt unit. It's a little bit wobbly, but it does the business. Pistol grip looks pretty old school. It's all rubber covered, nice grip, nice texturing, and it's got an infill at the back for the web of your hand, so it makes it more comfortable. But again, you could take this off and put any other accessory pistol grip on. I mean, Magpul do some good ones, as the Hogue. This is a large bolt release. Usually on the standard AR-15 this is much smaller, so again thumbs can get to it nicely. That released the bolt after it's held back on the last round, and it's also a manual release. Unusual here again, as I said about including everything, Schmeisser have machined the side of the magwell for a left-hand side magazine release. Feed comes from Glock mags. This is a 10 rounder. They pop out. So a free float forend, M-lock here, so you can put on what you like. So let's just turn the rifle over. This side, typically, you've got your large cocking handle angled down. You can adjust the angle. You've got a raised and larger magazine release here, and you've got a duplicate of the safety over here. Again, it's very nice to present. It's dark black. You've got a Picatinny rail here that stops at the end of the receiver. Also included on the rifle are iron sights. These just push up like so. They're AR-15 style, so you can adjust the height for adjusting the group on here. And on this one, you can adjust the windage. Very unusually, I've never seen it before on an AR, is this here is a right-hand bolt release. I'm not sure if you actually need it, but it's there. So I said that Schmeisser have done their homework and put virtually everything on his rifle. The only thing I would say in use, it just presses down and it releases the bolt like so. But as you can see, it's rather sits under your thumb. And if you were to have this further down, you might trap your finger. The top of the fore end, as you can see, has been relieved and milled away. A lot of guns have picoting all the way up, which is debatable whether or not you need it, but this one hasn't. Don't think you do need it. Picatinny just stops about here. And regardless of the fact the gun is a side cocker, they also fit an ambidextrous T-handle. As you can see, you can do it from both sides, it's quite nice, but as I said before, the T-handle really isn't what you need to run a straight pull with. So the barrel, mid-weight, 12.5 inches long, with a muzzle brake. Overall, it's an attractive package, I've got to say. This Bushnell AR optic was fitted by Edgar's. It's not part of the package, but as it's a 9mm, it's the sort of thing you might be considering for the sort of use which will be gallery type rifle, sort of pistol caliber action shooting, stuff like that. For the test I used 3 different types of ammunition. First of all, supplied by the importers Edgar Brothers, is Hornet is TAP training. It's very standard, full metal jacket, round nose, 115 grain. And it's quoted at 11.45 feet per second. Secondly, it's a Gecko 9mm Luger SX, which is 124 grain. And finally, Remington Golden Sabre, which is again 124 grain, but it's a hollow point. Okay, do some accuracy testing now. I'm using a Hawk 1.5 to 6 by 44 semi-compact scope. I've had it on a couple of rifles, and for guns like this, it's quite a nice option if you don't really have a red dot. But zeroing at 50 yards by 6 is more than enough. 10 round mag just slips in. You just press your bolt release. Safety catch is on. When you come up to fire, just flip it off. Nice clean 10 rounds. Last round hole open. What you've got to watch on these guns, as I discovered when I was running this up the other day, got to be very consistent with how you operate them. As you saw, my technique was quite consistent all the way back, so letting it go, let the bolt roll off. It's not a problem, it's only a matter of practice like anything. Yeah. Okay, so all the shooting and banging and having fun's done. What do I think of the SP9? Overall, I love ARs. Probably people who know me well know that for a fact. Basically, the rifle's well presented. It's got pretty much everything it needs, as I said, and it's got sort of almost a compulsory telescopic butt, people like that. Decent pistol grip. Ambient controls are good, and some of the modified safety is good as well. I'm not so convinced by the right-hand bolt release, because you do it wrong and your finger's in the way unless you lift this up a bit, but that's entirely up to you. But all the other bigger controls I like. I even like the fact you've got a ambi mag catch on the left as well, which is quite useful. Fore end's fine, sensible. Iron sights fitted is quite nice, so I doubt if many people in the UK are going to really bother with iron sights on it. Red dot for closer range, or a compact optic for further out. I just think it's a generally quite nice gun. Few negative thoughts. Glock mags are hard to fill. I'd recommend you get some sort of mag loader. It basically clips over the top and it pushes them down, which makes sense to me. But also, when they're full, because they're polymer, even though they have metal feed lips, they tend to swell a little bit. As I said before when you saw me shoot it, not the problem is, it's understanding how to operate it. So it's as fast and hard as you can, you pull it back all the way, so you fire, boom, pull back, and if you watch, You literally just let your hand roll off. You don't stop here, or nor do you do that, because you can guarantee a case will fall off. And that's just the way it is. Trigger from the box is not too bad. The Hawley 115 FMJ was producing a maximum speed of 1349, a minimum of 1330, an average of 1338. A bit of barrel gives it a bit more velocity. SD was 9.8 feet per second, which is pretty good. Group size was 1.574. The Gecko 124 maximum was 1285 feet per second, minimum 1235 feet per second, average of 1263 with a standard deviation of 25.6. Group was 2.420 inches. The Remington 124 grain Golden Sabre, maximum 1324, minimum 1310, average 1318. So the SD was an impressive 7.6 feet per second, and the group was 1.593 inches. But what I like is it's nice to see pistol caliber carbines that aren't over 100 years old in terms of the Winchesters and things coming out, and I think that this will be the start of things. Other companies will recognise the fact they've got AR-15s, they can make 9mm AR-15s or whatever. But there you go. So that was the Schmeisser SP9 straight pull 9. Good fun, really enjoyed shooting it. And it's Pete Moore signing off. I'll catch you again soon with some more chat and some more stuff.